My dear Caroline, I always tell you that I want you to be successful in life and learn from my experiences. Let me tell you a story. America is such an interesting place. I wouldn't trade growing up here for anything in the world. The struggles that I have experienced on a daily basis made me stronger and gave me the energy to fight harder. When we first came here from Ukraine, I was just a small girl and wasn't able to grasp all that America had to offer me. I had lots of schoolwork to do and had to help my mom with things around the house while my dad was at work. I knew that I would rather be back home. The struggles that I experienced, they really helped me. When I went to school, I had friends, but they all grew up here and they all knew more than I did. I knew that I would rather be back at home. Throughout all the things I experienced, I knew that I had to push through. My dear great-granddaughter, I just want you to know that whatever life throws at you, you can pull through it.
And asked my mom if she knew anything about him. And my mom said she didn't know who her friend was talking about. But her friend said that he'd arrive in a minute. And when he did, my mom saw this old, rusty truck arrive with a young man come out in like old, worn, dirty clothes. So that was the day that they first met. Some years later, my mom and her husband had a divorce. Well, they didn't have a divorce, but they had an argument, and they decided to live separately. And my mom's dad lived in Ukraine. Well, he lived in the United States, but my mom's mom lived in Ukraine, and she wanted to move to the United States to see her husband. So, my grandma couldn't leave my mom in the United States, in Ukraine, so she had to leave her there. She couldn't leave her there unless she was married, which she was. However, she didn't want her to be there alone. So then one day, Vasil came over and my mom explained her situation to him. And he said, "Why don't you marry me?" So then my mom said that she would think about it. And she set up a divorce. And the next day at the courtroom, her husband never showed up. So she was really confused. So she went to her husband's house to ask him what's the matter. And he said some hurtful things. So then Vasil came over and my mom was crying to him. So he said, "Where is this guy? Show me." So when she did, she left for like 5 minutes, and then she came back, and she saw Vasil punching him in the face, and then he would fall back down, and then he kept picking him up and punching him again and again, and until my mom's mom split them up. So that was the story. So then after that, at the next courtroom appointment, my mom's husband was sitting there quietly even before she arrived. He signed the divorce papers, and Vasil and my mom got married. And when they did, they wanted to move to the United States because they heard it's better there. So when they moved there, they couldn't move there so Vasil didn't have the correct documents for it, and creating them took too much time. So Vasil bought my mom a plane ticket and sent her off. And then, as a surprise, he illegally crossed the borders through Mexico. He was crawling in the desert for 10 hours in the middle of the night. And when he got to America, he gave my mom a phone call and he said, "Hi, honey, I'm in America, in prison. Please bail me out." So he stayed in there for like 2 weeks, and when he got bailed out, they settled down and they had their first child, me.
got home from an exhausting day at the JCH practicing baseball. And I noticed that my mom and my sister were watching History Channel. They were watching a documentary about Russia. And I don't normally watch documentaries about anything. They are so boring. But I remember that my mom moved from Russia. So I decided to give it a try for 15 minutes. It was actually getting interesting. So I went to the kitchen, got some popcorn, and sat down to watch the whole documentary. But it didn't show anything about how people from Russia immigrated to America, like my family did. It's actually because of my great aunt Raya that my family's here now, and me too. My family was from the USSR, living in Russia, and they were Jews, and Russia was a really dangerous place for Jews. They really wanted to move, but all the airports were closed. But when they finally opened, my Baba Raya, she knew that was the best chance for them to move. It was the best choice she ever made, and we got my family there, obviously. My family moved from Russia, but only she and her husband Boris moved at that time. My other relatives moved to Israel, but my mom and her grandparents, my grandparents, stayed in Russia for 20 more years because her father was a Russian military officer. I don't know why they stayed, probably military duties, I guess. But when my Baba Raya got to America, she was able to invite my family, my mom's family, and her parents to America. When they got there, everything changed because my relatives from Israel also moved to America. When my whole family was together, my family was finally together and everything changed forever. We got our freedom we wanted, more opportunities in America. But if my mom would have moved to Israel, I've been speaking a different language, playing a different sport, and going to the IDF in a few years. My life wouldn't be that bad in Israel, but that's not the point. Anyway, I gotta go. Part 2 is on.
Oh, honey, what do you think of this one? What color looks better on me, brown or beige? My God, look at this silver fox fur. Wow, this brings back memories. It was in Passa Square, Italy, 1989. Oh, how I wish I saw this fox fur. I could play with it and pretend I'm a princess. I wish I could just lay in the sand and make sandcastles. I wish I could swim in the sea and play in the waves. Just have some fun. No, but I promise, Papa, I can't let him down. For all I know, maybe our future will depend on this fox fur. Papa gave me a responsibility, and I will make the money. These bittersweet memories from my mom's childhood have taught me so many lessons. When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. She didn't have a perfect life, but it was good enough for her. I wonder what would have happened if my mom's family hadn't moved from Russia through Italy to America. Now I realize that small moments like these are the ones that we should learn from.
Що? Вон? Who's there? Йося, Да, come in, заходи. You know your pradedушка can hear very well, so please, speak loud for me. Спасибо. Ой. Hey, как школа была сегодня? Hey, what's happened? Why your face looks sad now? You know, for 2 weeks now you have sad face. Пожалуйста, tell your прадедушка. We barely talk now. Что? Что? Your clothes? What do you mean your clothes? Your clothes look great on you. You know, back in SSR, I haven't worn your American clothes that I see. You know, Adidas, Jordans, Nikes, and other names. Ну, блин, ну и что those idiots make fun of you in школе? You think that's problem? Let me tell you about problem. Let me tell you about my life back in the SSSR when I was your age. And then you will understand what problem is. No, Йося, I know I told you this story 1 раз, 2 раз, 3 раз и миллионов раз. But I tell you this story again, and you will listen. I was living under terrible conditions. Conditions were so terrible that mostly every Russian fought for a couple of pieces of bread. Хлеб. Here, your babuля makes you a buffet every time you come home from school. I had to work and work in my papa's wine shop to make living for myself. I'm proud you help your papa and mama with laundry. Hey! Yosia, I made 90 rubles per month. Average Russian, 150 rubles per month. Now let me ask you a question. I have 4 rubles. How many Amerikanski dollar equals to 4 rubles? Please, tell me. You're good in math. No, Yosia. Each ruble equals to 69 cents. Okay? 69 cents and 4 cents equals $3. Okay, not $5. You know, you're good in math. Use your mind. Use your head, Yosef. How many laundry you need to do to get yourself a pair of Jordans? Да, говори еще. You know, back in Russia, the Jordans that I wore had holes in them, which made my toes stick out. During winter, it was so cold, it was like Siberia. I was freezing to death with wearing my torn out clothes. Well, Yosia, best moment of my life will happen to you someday. The best moment of my life was when I met Verочка. Oh, Verочка, she was beautiful. I met her at Misha's birthday party. We danced, we drank, we talked. I made her my girlfriend like this. During winter time, she would be my снежная королева. It was beautiful. But I remember this day like it was yesterday. 1941. The Germans attacked USSR. World War II began. I was deployed to the Navy to fight against немецкие submarines. You know, it's not like your video games I see you play, you know, Call of Duty, Battlefield, all those дебильные игры I see you play. This is real life, Yosif, real life. I was shot in Stalingrad, but, you know, I went to hospital, I got better, I went back to serve on the front. And then, went to Berlin, finished war, and won total victory against the Nazis, and that is why you're here today, because of me. You know? I went back to Ukraine. It was all destroyed. I found a home. I found a job as signal transmitter for a couple of years. Eventually, I met your great-grandma. She was a good person, but, you know, eventually I found out I'll be staying with her for the rest of my life. Oy. Now you know how I feel. Living in communist regime made me think of what I was really working for, you know? Mostly every Russian struggled to make any living at all, you know? In 1952, I gave birth to your grandma. She lived life okay, but, you know, we were all poor. In 1974, you gave birth to your mom. But, you know what you really wanted, Yosef? A boy. Ah, Yosef, I just kid with you. Your mom is beautiful. Respect her and everything she does for you. We wanted to go to America. Ты слышишь, America? You know, in 1993, we came to America. And Yosef, you can't believe what this place has. The food, the people, environment. Oh, and Brighton Beach. Oh. You know, it was beautiful. It is beautiful. I know, Yosef. I know I'm old. I don't have much to offer. I came here as senior citizen. But I will give you advice. Okay? Respect your родители, your mama, your papa, деда и baba, and everything they do. Because this country represents freedom and democracy. Back in Russia, we didn't have freedom or democracy. You know? Я, твоя мама, papa, деда и baba all worked. And worked. And worked. And what did we get? We got a булочку, piece of хлеб, torn shoes, and your babuля gives you a buffet and you get pair of pants every single week. Now go, Yosef. Go eat your bitki. I was off a little. Good talking to you.
I typically don't speak Russian. To me, it doesn't really matter. I mean, because I don't really care who my friends are. I have black friends, American friends. I mean, I have Russian friends too, like Jackie. She and I are best friends. But the cool part about that is that if it wasn't for my dad, we would have never met. Well, back in the late 80s, when my dad left Russia to go to America, he went through Italy for a while. And on his way there, he was talking and playing chess with a young man like himself. And they say women talk a lot. And a few years later, my dad introduced that young boy to a young lady, and a few years later, they became Jackie's parents. And if it wasn't for my dad, I guess me and Jackie would have never known each other. Me and Jackie do a lot of things that friends do. We hang out, we joke around. Our favorite thing to do is when we're around a lot of people is share secrets, and if we don't want them to understand, we say them in Russian. I mean, I guess it's kind of cool that I can speak another language. I mean, but I don't really care. But hey, I'm just a teen, and I don't know what's going to happen in the future.
So, my name is Jean. Yes, Jean. No, I'm not French. I'm just named after my great-grandma, Baba Zhenya. I know, weird, right? I'm a boy named after a woman. No big deal. My name is cool. It's original. It's cool. My dad named me. He told me some really cool stories about my great-grandma. She was a wonderful woman. Everyone in her town respected her because she did good and treated people with respect. She taught her family to do the same. She really loved my father. He was her first grandson, according to my grandma. And you know how every first grandson is always spoiled. Anyways, she loved my father very much. She told him stories about the war, bought him toys, and gave him advice for life. Unfortunately, I never got to meet her. She passed away a really long time ago. All these days is I can listen to stories about her, look at pictures, and wonder and imagine how would she love me. I guess so I'll just go back and ask my grandma for more stories about my great-grandma Baba Zhenya and my great-grandpa Deda Yasha. I heard he fought in World War II. Anyways, my name is John, and I think my name is cool.
Found this box a few weeks ago. Had some old stuff, papers, pictures, just a bunch of old things. This one letter really stuck with me. My dearest Mari Kludengenchka, I'm trying to write to you as fast as I can. They sent me to the Ukrainian front. I'm doing well. Don't worry about me. Soon we'll be leaving to Europe. Remember the story about my brothers who said the Nazis won't do anything to them? Well, I got the news. They were all killed. Now my commander has me training these newbies because I'm the best artillery calculations commander here. It's hard here, but I'm pushing through. I miss you all so very much, and we'll fight till it's all over. Please stay safe. I gotta go now. Vash Pap Kalik. October 14th, 1943. This was a letter from my great-grandfather. My parents say that I remind them of him a lot. So I'm determined and I fight for what I want. This is my history. I gotta go now.
Hey! Jew boy! Hey! See, I grew up surrounded by kids who were nothing like me. My best friend was Pakistani, everyone in my school was mostly Asian, and all my neighbors were either Italian or Irish. Right, cool, right? If you think so, you should see what they got going on over at the UN, right? So I didn't pay it any mind until I was about 10 years old, when my mom finally let me leave the block and go down to the park. I would try to make friends and everything would go real well until they would ask me what I was. Imagine that. It mattered more to a group of 10-year-olds what was in my blood than what was my favorite flavor of fun dip. So when I would answer them, they would get a real bad taste in their mouth. The best reaction was when they would look at me confused and say, "Really? I thought you were Italian." Right? And I still paid it no mind. I thought maybe they moved or they didn't like how I smelled or whatever. And then it wasn't until this group of not hugged enough as a child teenage girls came by. I guess the younger siblings spread the news. See, on that hot summer night, it started to hail. Well, at least I thought it did. Until I got smacked in the face and bending over to see what it was, found it was a penny. My first reaction was like, sweet, Mom was wrong. Money does fall from the sky. But then I heard laughter. And I followed the sounds to a group of girls who were huddled up, laughing, howling Jew, and making some low-quality cracks at me. So I did what any normal boy does when he sees a group of girls. I ran for my life. And then I realized something. I understood why so many kids were giving me the response they were when I told them what I was. And while I was ashamed, I didn't want to tell people where my roots were from. I didn't want to tell people I was a Russian Jew. I didn't want to talk about my grandpa's funny accent. I wanted to bury it deep away, and I did, until one day when I came home from camp. I remember we visited a Holocaust museum, and I remember watching a video of some man who told about him and his family, and how they had to lie about being Jewish or they would have been killed during the war. And the ones who said that they were, well, that's exactly what happened to them. So when I got home, I asked my mom what she would have said if someone asked her that question when it was during the war. And without any hesitation, she said that she would say that she was Jewish. But once again, I was ashamed. My parents came here so they could express their religion freely, and, well, I was going against that. So after that day, I never ignored the question. I told people I was a Georgian Russian Jew with a little bit of Persian. And if they didn't like that, well, then they were missing out.
Thank you for coming. Thank you guys for doing this work. It's hard. It's this moment after performance where we're like, feel completely empty, right? It's that moment where we rehearse, and once the audience come in, it's not ours anymore. We're giving it away to you. So we want to open it up for just a few minutes. We want to have a conversation, for God's sake. Any thoughts, ideas, maybe bring something. I know we have a lot of parents here. And I know some of the stories are a little off, so don't be like, hey, that wasn't like that, okay? We went there and then we changed a little bit for dramatic purposes. But please react, please respond. What did you guys feel? Are there any questions, comments, anything at all? You can ask specific questions to the actors or to everybody or just a thought. Yes, Sivan. Hello, my dear.
So I've known Anna for a few years, and I want to say how amazing this is. And I just want to say to everybody in the group that I'm sure everybody in this room commends you for being so brave and sharing your stories. Some of them are funny, some of them are a little bit more dramatic, and I just want to say thank you for sharing and for being very brave. And we're wishing you all the best with everything that you continue with.
Thank you. Any other questions or thoughts? Yes, please.
So this is from Mr. Georgia. I'm just wondering where you grew up.
I was born here. My dad.
What area?
In Bensonhurst.
That's where they're all from. Yes, another question, please.
Everybody's Brian's dad. Brian, just a question for you. Guy over here, get up so people know who you are. Who's Yasha and Vereshka?
Well, кто Яша?
Yossi and Vereshka. Who's Yossi and Vereshka?
Okay. Yossi is a made-up name, but it's more my pradedушka's great-grandson, pretty much, Yossi. And Vereshka was his first girlfriend back in USSR, before World War II started. That's when they separated.
Go ahead.
I guess I have a question for kind of everyone. When you were going back to these old gaps, these old letters, did you ever have trouble filling in the gaps, especially since if you are turning back generation and generation, I can imagine some of the details may have gotten a little easy. Was it hard to recreate some of them, or to make it authentic? Anyone can answer.
We had a set. I'm going to answer that question if I may. We actually had a session before these beautiful actors wrote their own monologues, which by the way they all did. We had a session where they did come in with pictures and talked almost first person as whoever was on the picture. And they did answer some of the questions they had because they went home and they found out. And based on that, they were able to create what you saw tonight. So I hope that answers your question.
And I guess as far as the challenge, at least for me, it was how you could take their story and relate it to you. Because, you know, growing up in a different time, growing up in a different area, it's really hard to relate to something like that. So I guess that was the biggest challenge.
Yes, go ahead.
Because we lived life here different than our parents did. That's why it was so kind of hard to combine their stories with us. That's why, you know, it's very different how we live compared to how we live back then.
And we spoke about that a lot. A lot of conversation about, okay, so I live in America. I have this Russian culture in me. I have this Jewish culture in me that's not entirely Jewish, so what do I do with it? So a lot of conversation, and those gaps are very difficult. Because A, sometimes we don't know things. Sometimes we come back to our parents and say, okay, so I know this chunk of the story and this chunk of it. What happened there? And even our parents don't know. Right. So that's puzzling and that's difficult, and I guess that's something hopefully that will spark both in you guys and us, and maybe you guys, to share more of what actually happened and investigate and create those scrapbooks that you have at home, to make those, put those pictures in, just to have it tangible, at least pieces of the stories, at least something will be there, right? So we can either pass on or just have it be in this box for years. Maybe somebody will find it. Who knows? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to tell that you guys did an amazing job, and the preparation was, I'm pretty sure, very deep and great for everybody, and the show was amazing. My question is to everyone: how did it feel to be on the stage?
Thank you. Yes, Ron, go ahead.
Kind of frightened. It's my first time.
Anybody else? Yes, Emily.
Well, we were all kind of nervous in the back because it was most of our first times, and even some of us it wasn't our first time, but we were also scared, from people.
I performed many times, but you know what? What the heck? Get your stuff done, give it to the audience.
It was a lot of them were about maybe anxiety building up back there. So, because since you just want to get up on the stage and perform on where you already made, so the anxiety was really high back there.
Did any of those stories spark something? We had a few more questions. We had one question here for a long time, then we're going to go all the way back to Alex, and then we'll come back to you. Go ahead.
So I just wanted to let you know you guys did all an amazing job, and each and every story sparked something, at least in me, of the commonality of our identity, although each story was so different, and you could see the emotions were so different. So thank you so much for doing this. I think you brought back a lot of memories in our minds as well, and hopefully sparked some interest in yours about your identity. But also I wanted to ask, how did you choose that one story that you wanted to, concentrate on? Is it something you maybe heard from your family? Is it something how do you choose stuff? Because I would have a very difficult time choosing a story that describes kind of my family's identity and how I connect. Anybody, how did you guys come up with that one story?
Jesse, take it.
So I've heard a bunch of stories, but I wanted one that I guess affected me, as in I had gratitude for who I was, and I guess like I said in the story before that, I was kind of oh whatever, I'm a Jew, but it doesn't really matter, and then I guess after that day, and I think that was the first time I ever went to the Holocaust Museum and really understood what was going on during that time, and what my grandparents had to go through and stuff like that, and how lucky I was that I was born, because there's a huge chance I wouldn't have been. So that's pretty much why.
Alex?
Even though all of you on stage, your stories of
stories that didn't make it into the script.
One time I told my dad that I was dating an Italian girl.
Oh yes, yes, that story, yes, that story. Or debating.
Yeah.
Can you share a little?
So my dad sat me down in the kitchen and was like, "Что ты делаешь?" And kind of went off on the whole like you have to marry your own, blah blah blah. And it was, I mean, in a sense, I kind of understood what he was saying because there's a lot of things that I couldn't relate to her because she was third generation American, I'm first, and the only people in her family that are immigrants have passed away, so she doesn't have that connection. But I still think that it, in a sense, it matters, but in a way, it doesn't. Because as long as you still have important values, then it doesn't. But it was hard getting my dad to kind of just accept the fact that I live in America.
Moishe.
Question, what's next? You did an amazing job these 3 months, and you created a community, you created an expression of identity. What's next? How do you see this group going forward?
It's a very good question. I mean, first of all, again, this partnership started a few years ago when we started, JCH Camp Beyachad was around for how long already? 10? 9 years, right? So we joined about 3 years ago and were invited to run a studio. They have a lot of studios every summer, and we ran the drama studio. Marina ran it for 3 years. And then we sat down with the J team and we said, okay, let's take it a little bit to the next level. Okay, camp is great, but we want to take it a little bit outside too. To share it with all the wonderful people here, but also let those ladies and gentlemen explore a little bit more on a longer span of time, on like 10 days when you have a really crammed time. So really there are a few kind of options. Many of you know that we have a company called Lost and Found Project, which is a professional theater company with professional actors, which we hope one day maybe some of these young fellas are going to join if they get to a point where they can join professionally. And B, I think this kind of exploration should continue. There's no reason not to. There's a lot of potential, I think, in each and every person sitting here. I was blessed actually to be in this process. Yesterday I was sitting picking music, the one that we were playing today, almost crying because where else can we find moments like this? Nowhere. So I would like these moments to continue happening and being born. We don't know. It's a question of funding and setup and where and who and when, but I'm sure it's going to continue. There's no way it can't.
Yeah, it's very bittersweet. We even had some of the actors ask us, so what's next?
Yeah.
Do we come back next Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a lot of, it's bittersweet for sure. But we'll see, we'll explore.
Hopefully it will continue. So make sure to give us your emails so we can let you know of the next step. And if you know anybody else who would like to join this kind of an experience, that would be good too, to start the role. Any other question? I think we have a couple more. Yes, go ahead.
This is to everyone. I was just wondering if this whole experience has sparked any of you to do some more in-depth digging into your past and maybe made some connections, to the letters and whatever it is that you unearthed to this great project.
Go ahead.
Well, why am I here? That's the question I ask myself. Like, it's not like I magically was born. Something must go back and back. Because, for example, if World War II never happened, who knows? I might have been born somewhere else. Something sparked my birth and all these other kids' birth.
One thing that brought me here, I mean, I'm a little bit of a different story because I am an actress and am an educator, but at some point while working here a lot, I realized that something is missing. And I mean, my instrument is theater. It seems like these guys is too. So I really believe in the instrument of theater and as a tool to investigate and learn and explore and also bring other people in. So, yeah. That's really where it all stands. This kind of desire to explore more and tell more, and I think this kind of an experience for the audience is also very powerful, as we saw. Not for everyone, but it's something that sparks that then some audience members then go home, and even on the way home, that's enough. were discussing what happened and what did it spark. Did it remind us anything? Did it, by the way? Anybody, did you have like, oh, that reminded me of my great grandma? Or somebody wants to share like an actual something? Yes.
Well, I have to say Mr. George, with names.
Jesse.
Wasn't exactly what to join. And I kind of went through the same type of experiences where I had a very close childhood friend who went to a parochial school. And I remember when we were tweens, if you will, there was this dance. And we were all psyched to go together. And I went out and got my dress and all this good stuff. And then the day before the dance, she told me that I couldn't go because I was Jewish. You know, she was told by someone at the school that I couldn't attend the dance because I was Jewish. Or, we had situations, it was funny when you threw the penny, where we would play this game, hit the penny kind of game. I remember one time going to pick it up for no other reason than just to stop the game, and it was, oh, Jew girl, went to take the penny type of thing. So, I also tried to date an Italian guy in high school, and I had to kind of say that he was half Jewish. And get to go over. And I said, well, I'm not marrying him. And the response was, well, every marriage started out with the first date. So I related very strongly to him.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. That's wonderful. We discussed a lot, to answer your previous question too, we discussed a lot that kind of, if, this whole conversation of who am I and what am I, these big questions, right? We realize that if we don't know these stories, if we don't dig deep, we kind of can't continue. Because once you don't really know where you're coming from, it's very hard to know where you're going, so you kind of get stuck. That's what I feel a lot, and that's what we discussed a lot in our sessions. So now it's kind of easier. So hopefully we'll continue, because it never ends, right, this process. Yes?
So I'll answer that question. I performed before, and I love it, but I never really wrote a lot of stuff as far as like script writing. And like this situation happened in my life, right? But I never thought about it. I never thought about how it changed me as a person until I wrote it down. So I definitely want to do some more writing and some more exploring in that sense.
Let's do like a couple more, right? 2 more questions, and let's go have some wine and cheese. Yes?
One observation I made, there was many stories where, things we heard from our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and a lot of times our reaction is kind of, oh, it's a little bit silly. I mean, I know I have to respect the story, but they don't really get the real world today. But I think what's important to keep in mind, and I think you guys all see that, is that there's so much wisdom in these stories that, you need to keep on asking these questions and listening to them, and one day it's all going to make sense. It's going to come together, and it's going to, you're going to say, now I get it. So I really appreciate that you guys see that and really value these stories, and we're able to bring it to us and share it with all of us. Thank you.
Absolutely. In many cases, we say that even if you try to suppress these stories, you're kind of like, oh, whatever. They're going to hunt you. They're going to fall on you the moment you're not ready, least ready for them. Yeah. Good?
Last question, no?
Last question. All right.
My last question is for every single one of the actors, so they can all take 2 or 3 words and tell us what you
Perfect.
take away from this experience.
Whew, tough one. Who wants to answer? Maybe everyone, maybe just a few. All of them. All of you have to sleep.
Definitely not time. I'm not taking any time. I enjoy this. No time has been wasted.
Yes.
Maybe like exploring more of where you come from, like your roots.
Yes.
My respect for the past.
Just say it.
Oh, okay. Definitely to like give a chance more and have faith more, because when I first was told about this program, they told me there was going to be a lot of younger kids, and at first thought was like, I'm just going to have to sit there, blah blah blah, it's going to be boring, they're not going to know what to do, blah blah, and then I got there and everyone was really good and great and had great stories and everyone was really fun and it was fun.
to watch everyone grow as actors and awesome people.
I sort of feel the same as Jesse. I was sort of the same way, like, oh, everyone's going to be younger, it's going to be boring, but as I kept going and started thinking about things, like, I learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So many things I want to say. I just want to say that everybody here can do it. You know what I mean? No one, like, if you think you can't do it, you know, it's just gonna degrade you. You know, like, everyone has potential, and you can't think that you're gonna do bad. If you came here, you have to finish it, do the job right. It doesn't matter how it turns out. It's gonna be good for you and for everyone. That's what I think.
I think the same way as Jesse is thinking. The first time I came to the workshop with Marina, I thought it's gonna be boring. And even though I didn't go that much times, only for last week, I came with a story and I did it.
Yeah, we also didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
At all. Some of us have, Anna and I have been lucky to work with some of these wonderful actors, but we didn't know what to expect. And I think our expectations were beyond amazing. So thank you all for putting your work and, like Brian said, doing the job. So thank you. And thank you guys for coming. Keep sharing the stories, join us, sign up to the mailing list, and go have a soda, wine if you can. Have fun, thank you.
Здесь стесняют.
Oh, good.
You know, that's a big problem.
Get the right. You want
There's no room.
No, don't do that.
И дым такой идет.
От меня, да?
А где ты? Как понять, что это театр?
Maybe you should. We have to. If you like, actually, if I want to get involved, like as a person, you can't manage. I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't want to have a conflict of interest. So, but anyway, I think the photograph we got shouldn't be involved, and we are now doing everything we can do.
That's big, my dear friend. Let me know. Email, Facebook. We're going to have a big festival now.
Put your hands up so I can see that I'm giving it to you.